This video is all about body language and how to use our body in an effective way.
The first aspect I want to focus on are facial expressions. Now, facial expressions are pretty universal. What that means is if someone's happy in Japan or America, we can see it. If someone is sad in Uganda or in China, we can see that also. So this makes them pretty much universal. I wanted to bring up facial expressions first because they're extremely important. We, the audience, are looking at your face most of the time. Sure, we look at your body language and we look at your PowerPoints, but most of the time when you're communicating with someone, you're looking directly at their face. So you don't want to have a blank face. Make sure you're expressing how you feel through your face. Not just the words you say, not just your PowerPoint, but your facial expressions also can give the audience a lot of information. Now, gestures, on the other hand, are not always universal. There are some gestures that are pretty well known, like a thumbs up or a wave or something like this. Pretty much most cultures understand what these gestures mean, but some gestures can be very different depending on the culture. I'm American, and for me this is the heart symbol. But when I first came to Korea, I was actually shocked by how many different ways you can make a heart symbol. I never knew, because we don't use this in America. Traditionally in America, the small heart symbol meant money. If you saw a person rubbing their two fingers together, that usually meant that you owe them some type of money. Now, this is changing a little bit, and I think partially it's because of K-pop and Korean culture in America that's becoming more popular. Now younger generations understand that that symbol also means a heart. You have to be a little cautious about the gestures you use in different cultures, and some cultures use more gestures than others. However, in general, you want to have good facial expressions and many gestures. So one of the most important things to do with your face is just to smile. People like people who smile. So when you first come up to start your presentation, smile to the audience when you're introducing yourself. Now, as the subject matter gets more serious, your face can then become more serious. But when you first meet the audience, you want to build that connection. Smiling really helps you build that connection. Just like I said, many people have a blank face while they give a presentation. They also sometimes forget to use their head. But use your head. You can nod your head up and down, shake it back and forth, tilt it sideways if you're confused. There's many different ways that we can express how we feel with just our head movements. Now this might be the most important thing actually. Make eye contact. Eye contact is extremely important. And that doesn't mean to make eye contact just with the person in front of you or just your best friend. This means to actually make eye contact with many different people around the room. In a small classroom like what we have, you can actually make eye contact with everyone in the classroom. If it's a bigger auditorium with 200-300 people, then you want to find different groups around the auditorium and make eye contact with those people in the group. A couple of other things you should do is use hand gestures, move your arms, walk around the room. You want to seem relaxed and confident when you give your presentation. Something that happens is when we get nervous, we become more like a robot. We don't have a facial expression, we don't use our head, and our body becomes very stiff. You want to show the audience that you're comfortable and confident. And one way of doing this is using your arms and your hands while you're giving your presentation.
So we talked about things to do. Now let's look at a few things we should avoid. The first thing is slouching. Slouching is when your posture is down like this. You don't want to slouch. You want to stand tall with your shoulders back and seem confident to your audience. The next thing is crossing your arms. Something like this might seem a little angry or rude, or when you hold your wrist and you hold your arms in front of your body, you seem a little shy or nervous. You want to have your arms free. That way you're free to make many types of gestures. The next thing is putting your hands in your pockets or on your hips, something like that. You want to try to avoid that. One more thing is touching your face or your hair. Now, I would say girls do this more than boys, but everyone does it. When they get a little nervous, maybe touch your face or your hair. You kind of want to avoid this. Now, you can touch your face if you're doing some dramatic pose, you're thinking about something, or maybe you take off your glasses to make more of an impact to your audience. These actions are okay, but just randomly touching your hair and your face, that's not very good. Another thing is rocking. And this is one of the reasons why we watch ourselves on the video, because many students rock. They don't know they rock until they see themselves. When you're nervous and in front of your audience, you don't notice that you're going back and forth. And then the last thing is repetitive gesture. What a repetitive gesture is doing the same gesture over and over and over again. Now, you should have many gestures, but you want to have a variety of many different gestures, not just a repetitive gesture.
To be an effective speaker, you have to use your body. Your body is communicating a lot of information even when you're not speaking. Just from your facial expressions and your gestures, we can understand how you feel. So the next time you give a presentation, really think about your body. This is the difference between making a good presentation and a great presentation.